Okay, my name is Arlyn Hackett, and I'm going to tell you a story about my mother. And she would not want to have ever been thought of herself as a shero. She was not someone who, wanted to be known as someone that was really super special. It's just that my mother had qualities that were of greatness, but she didn't have to talk about it. And you might not even realize that she had those qualities because she was kind of plain and withdrawn. So the best thing that I can say about my mother is that she was very practical. And I kind of got that inherited in me, I tell you. She was very pragmatic. And she would always say, well, do whatever it takes. There was nothing that was going to be a disaster that was going to cause you to go anywhere, but just do whatever it takes. So the story about my mother that I want to share with you is that you got to picture the time. She was married in the year 1932. And guess what? I have a picture of my mother and father's wedding. That is their picture. So in 1934, they had their first child, and it was in August. And 6 weeks after he was born was the beginning of the Great Dust Bowl in Kansas, or at least the worst part of the Dust Bowl. It raged on for days, and you had to wear masks. But my brother was an infant child, only 6 weeks old. So what she had to do was take blankets and sheets and towels and whatever and cover the crib. The blankets were wet so that it would catch the dust. But the dust kept blowing and blowing, and my mother was starting to run out of fabric. Now, when she told me this story, she was in her late 70s. And I was going, oh, wow, wow. She says, well, what I had to do is I opened up the cedar chest and I pulled out my wedding dress, that one that I just showed you. And she said, I cut it up into pieces and covered the crib. And I said, oh my God, that must have been very difficult. And she looks at me and like, no, it wasn't difficult. You will do anything to save the life of your baby. It was a rather profound moment for me. But the last thing she said about that, I will always, always remember. What use is a used wedding dress anyway? If you can use it to save a baby, that's best. Thank you for listening.